started hunting when I was 14 years old in eastern Massachusetts. My first grouse season was without a dog. I loved it. I really became enthralled with grouse hunting even without a dog. Around my second season, when I was 15, my mother worked at a snack bar near the Cape Cod Canal. She looked into the parking lot one day when she was working, and there was a 1-year-old beagle wandering around in the parking lot. So she went out and gathered it up, tried to figure out where it came from, and she figured out it had come across 3 lanes of highway traffic from the bait and tackle shop across the street. Long story short, it turned out the guy, by happenstance, was looking to find a new home for the dog. And my parents must have talked and decided to adopt it. I was like, hey, I've got a hunting dog. And my dad and I thought it would be a rabbit dog, but there were no rabbits in our area at the time. And I simply just started taking Minnie with me on my before school hunts. And she almost immediately started finding 0 rabbits.
There it is.
They're here. The question is, where? I came home and told Dad that we weren't finding rabbits, but we were finding birds, and no one told me you couldn't hunt birds with a beagle, and we had many years of good hunting, primarily bird hunting for grouse and bobwhites. Really, the first, I don't know how many dozen of grouse I flushed, I just watched, dumbfounded, didn't even raise the gun. I remember coming home and telling my dad, how am I supposed to hit these things? How are you supposed to shoot these things? It seems like they're just there and gone. I slowly kept at it and eventually started at least raising the gun, and eventually, after probably a few dozen more flushes, got so that I could actually, I trained myself to kind of react to the sound. Guys that hunt grouse without a dog will tell you need to be springing into action based on the sound of the flush. And I eventually got so that I was taking shots, and then of course there was a period of taking shots and missing. But I eventually got the hang of it. Me and my friends would practice shooting clay targets, and I got to the point where I could actually hit a grouse on the wing. That happened sometime probably late in my second season. I finally connected with one. My dad had subscriptions to Field and Stream and Outdoor Life, and I remember those magazines would come, and I would just flip through looking for the article on grouse hunting. Grouse population plummeted in Manomet, and really most of my grouse covers were developed into kind of suburban areas. I knew I wanted a setter, and I kind of got there probably from the old grouse authors, Bert Spiller, George Evans. It seemed like a lot of the old grouse stories involved setters. So after a several year hiatus from bird hunting, I got my first setter, Maggie.
So mid-October to late October, when the flush counts are pretty much the highest. Bird shot, the weather, wind, and the most important part, what happened, how it felt.
We're lucky to be in upstate New York, where we have a 5-month grouse season, which is great, but they're really my companions, our companions, my wife Diane and I, all 4 seasons. When the season ends in the winter, we take them cross-country skiing with us. They love it as much as we do. When spring comes, we're mountain biking and hiking. They're as spoiled as any setter. They enjoy being on our laps and being on our furniture. We wouldn't have it any other way. Got Willow and Autumn. Willow is about 7.5. Autumn is about 3 years old. Willow's our tricolor. She is very athletic. I love to watch her cover ground. Moves fast, comes up on her birds fast, and when she points, there's usually a bird there. Autumn is a little more of a cautious dog on birds. She's probably the most demonstrative, loving dog that we've had, and setters are all loving lap dogs, but Autumn is definitely crawl in your lap, lick your face, just a total sweetheart with everybody she meets. On birds, she's a little more of a cautious dog, but she really has figured out how to handle grouse. So when you're hunting with Autumn, I tell people that haven't hunted over Autumn before, you're going to hear her point signal on her beeper collar, and then you're going to hear her move again, and you're going to hear her point, and you're going to hear her move. She has that knack that you want in a grouse dog, where she can maintain contact with the grouse, which is running, walking on foot, but without flushing it. So that at the end, when the gunner shows up, there's a flush and hopefully a shot opportunity. Autumn has really turned into a star at doing that. To me, that's what it's all about.